Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to talk about why we do resistance training, why it's important, how to lose weight and then how to keep it off. So I'm going to talk you through basically how you're going to prioritize what you're going to do in relation to achieving weight loss. So this is about putting in 20% of the effort for 80% of the results. It's called the Pareto distribution, so it's about doing the minimum to achieve the maximum. How you do that is prioritize what is important to you. So where you see people getting burnt out, doing too long of a diet, then relapsing and putting all the weight back on, or you see people doing all the cardio in the world and nothing's changing, or it feels like they're doing that because they're doing an hour of cardio every day, they're not doing any resistance training, they have quite a sedentary lifestyle, they're not really tracking their food, they're not being successful. So why is that? So I'm going to talk you through it now. So what you can see straight away is a lot of acronyms, which I'll talk you through. Please don't be put off by this. It's very simple. So working from the left-hand side, TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. So this is how your body burns its energy throughout the day. You can think of it in terms of calories. Calories is a measurement of energy, and generally when we talk about energy in humans and losing weight, we talk about calories. Okay, it's just a measure of energy. So first of all, we talk about the bottom one. 70% of your daily energy expenditure is from your BMR. It's your basal metabolic rate, and this is determined by your body mass. So this is how many calories you'd burn if you were in a coma. Now people laugh when I say that, but it is essentially how much your body burns at rest if you're doing absolutely no movement at all. This is to keep you alive, okay? If you see REE, that's rest and energy expenditure. So that is how much you're burning at rest. Cool, so that's 70%, so quite important, right? If you can maximize the amount that your body's burning from your BMR, then you're going to be in a really good position, okay? And that's why you see a lot of people with a lot of lean mass, which I'll come on to later, they generally stay that way, okay? Lean mass takes a long time to build, but once you get there, it's plain sailing. It is really, really easy to kind of keep weight off at that point. I'll explain why shortly. Cool, so next most important after BMR in terms of weight loss is, or maintaining your weight, is NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is any calories that are burned when you're not at rest, but not from exercise and not from food. So this is mainly around walking, okay? So like, how can you increase your activity by moving without your heart rate getting above, say, 100, 110 beats per minute? So like a light brisk walk is about where we're looking at, okay? So that is non-exercise, okay? Exercise really is above about 110 beats per minute in terms of heart rate. So I'll come on to a few techniques that you can use to increase that, but generally it's walking, okay? Just generally speaking. Any kind of movement. Cool. So then up from that is TEF, thermic effective food. This is generally maximized by protein. There are a few other ways, but I'd say use them with caution, and I will talk you through that shortly. And then finally, and I would say last but not least, but in terms of priorities, this is the least prioritized, okay? So, and it's often confused, so I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on this. So it's EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis. This is the energy burned from exercise. So anything above, anything with your heart rate above 110 beats per minute. So what could this be? Running, cycling, swimming, skiing, any exercise in the gym, sprinting, weightlifting, resistance training of all kinds. So that's how you burn calories from exercise. Cool. So as you can see, it only makes up about 5% of daily energy expenditure, which is, I think if you worked it out, is about right, okay? So all of those three at the top together, that's non-resting energy expenditure. So continuing on in priority order, then we have to look at ways to increase the metabolic rate, the basal metabolic rate first, okay? So this is like money in the bank, and it's giving you compound interest, it's paying you dividends, because once you've got it, it kind of stays there. It's really hard to go, and it burns calories while you're asleep, okay? That's great, right? Imagine earning money while you're asleep. Most of us, we trade time for money and we work in the day. This is the passive income that's trading you a calorie expenditure whilst you're asleep, okay? So how can you do this? Increase body mass, okay? The bigger you are, the more calories you burn, okay? That's why when you see more overweight people, or like say athletes, they've got a lot of lean body mass or they've got a lot of fat, either one, it's all body mass, they're going to burn more calories at rest, okay? So they're going to be able to eat more to maintain their weight. Their calories to maintain their weight are going to be higher than someone that's smaller than them, all else being equal. Okay, so say increase body mass. Well, that's not necessarily desirable. Okay, we don't want to really increase fat. Obviously, for obvious reasons, we don't want to increase fat, mainly aesthetic reasons, but fat isn't functional. Okay, in some sports it can help, but for the purposes of this video, obviously we're not going to be focusing on that. So we need to increase muscle. How do we do that? We do resistance training. Okay, so that's the mechanism for increasing muscle is called hypertrophy. It's the only way we know that increases muscle. This is basically the cells in the muscle increasing in size from breaking down. Okay, so you break down the cells, they rebind, and they become bigger and stronger. Okay, so what do you need to do to improve that? You need a surplus of protein. If you're only eating 50 grams a day of protein, which is what the government recommends, the guided daily amount, then you're not going to be able to gain muscle. It's pretty simple, okay? You need a surplus of protein. You may be able to in the beginning, but I promise you it won't last for very long. And if you do have a surplus of protein, you'll get way better results way quicker, okay? So a high protein diet, what does that look like? About 1.8 to 2 grams per kilo of body weight. Okay, so for me, let's say 100 kilos, we'll round it down, so that's between 180 to 200 grams of protein per day. Okay, it has to be per day. You can't spread protein like you can calories. It has to be achieved per day, because that's how muscle protein synthesis works. Your body needs to trigger this process to gain muscle. It happens about every 3 to 4 hours, so you want to spread those protein feedings out evenly throughout the day, at least three times. And then once you get a surplus of protein synthesis over protein breakdown, then you are in a anabolic state. You are building muscle, okay, which is then going to increase your BMR, okay? So muscle protein synthesis, how can you increase it? You can increase it by having a high protein diet, and that's it. Muscle protein breakdown, we want to limit this, okay? How do we limit muscle protein breakdown? Well, we want the stress response from resistance training, because that's the trigger for muscle growth. But what we can do is minimize other things that cause stress responses that aren't going to be anabolic. So anything that causes an increase in cortisol level, so lack of sleep, for example, stress through work. We want to minimize all of these outside stressors from the gym, which will put us in a more anabolic state and get us better results quicker. Okay, so that's BMR. Most important, so I spent most time on that. All the others will kind of fly through, okay? Some quick fire ways to increase your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So 1, take the stairs. If you come to me and say, Scott, I'm not losing weight, I say, are you still taking the lift? Yes. Okay, why are you doing that? Okay, you're not helping yourself. Increase NEAT. You come to me and say, I'm doing 5 hours of cardio a week, I'm not losing weight. Okay, but are you walking during the day? No. Okay, let's focus on that. It's more important. Okay, take the stairs. If you can stand up all day rather than sit down, do that. Break up your day. So for me, I can't sit down for longer than an hour. I have to get up and walk. Okay, and I think that's just ingrained in me now for being so active. But make that a habit. I can't not do it now. If you can get to the point where you can't not do it, then great. Okay, break up your day, go for a walk. Essentially, the last 2, do your errands, do your chores, don't be lazy. Okay, if you've got that cleaning jobs that needs to be doing, get them done. Okay, don't be lazy, get the work done. This is how you increase NEAT, and this is the second most important thing for weight loss. Okay, ways to increase the thermic effect of food. So there's essentially 3 ways. Okay, you can have protein foods, spices, which increase your metabolism as well, and caffeine, which also increases your metabolism. Okay, so they're all kind of acute effects that happen on a daily basis. If you have protein-rich foods, your body has to burn a lot of energy to digest them. Great stuff, because we're having protein anyway, because we need our protein to increase our muscle protein synthesis. All I say is about spices and caffeine is, if you already have them in your diet anyway, great. If you're sensitive to spices, they're obviously not a good trade-off for the benefit that you have. And then caffeine as well can affect sleep. I would limit that to 4 p.m. if it's affecting sleep, or if it's still affecting sleep at 4 p.m. So like no caffeine after 4 p.m. Stop caffeine at midday. Okay, you can get as much caffeine as you want in before midday. Probably is not going to affect sleep, so great, get the caffeine in, and if it helps you, then great, and it can increase metabolism. But I would put a lot of your attention, 80-90% of your attention, on having protein food spaced throughout the day, to increase this thermic effect of food. Okay, third most important way to lose weight. Okay, ways to increase exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is the energy burn through exercise, very clearly. I would say first of all, advises to anyone is find a form of exercise that you enjoy, whether that's sport or whether it's group classes, whether it's a style of exercise, like Pilates, yoga, CrossFit, whatever, like whatever you enjoy, then go and do that. Like why do you feel like you need to go on a cross trainer, for example? The treadmill, that's not for me personally. I don't get anything out of that. I find it very monotonous and boring. I like sport. I work harder when I do sport. I like more complex forms of training that engages my mind and makes me forget I'm doing exercise. Great stuff. If you find that you get a benefit from having a coach or instructor there and you know you work better in that environment, then great. Or like a group environment rather than on your own, perfect. Make sure you're prioritizing eat over eat when you can, okay? It's really important. I think I've obviously touched on that quite a few times. And then I say variation is the key to avoiding monotony, okay? Change it up. Have a few forms of exercise that you can draw from that you enjoy. When one is becoming a bit monotonous, increase the volume of the other, okay? That is a really good way to have a longevity in terms of enjoying exercise and increasing your energy expenditure from exercise. Okay, I've kept this one quite simple. This is about energy balance. So the mechanism for weight loss is absolutely you burn more calories than you take in. Okay, so I've talked about the ways that you can increase your energy expenditure, and then the other way is to decrease the amount of calories you're taking into your body. Okay, so that's the balance. So increase energy expenditure, decrease calories in. It is as simple as that. I think a lot of stuff gets overcomplicated in this area, but it is just as simple as that. If weight loss is halted, I bet you're unconsciously reducing your NEAT activity. That's the most common reason. Okay, so your calories have been 2200 calories for the last month. You stopped losing weight. You were losing weight before. I bet you, if you looked at it, you're either underreporting, you're not tracking correctly, or the most common is that you're not having enough NEAT activity. You need to keep your steps up. It's really, really important, okay? Okay, periodizing weight loss, there's a few kind of rules of thumb with this. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. The idea is that you don't get burnt out, okay? You don't want to get burnt out when you're dieting. A lot of people rush into dieting. They try to lose it too quick. They try to do it for too long, okay? You need to do it at a steady pace for short, manageable periods of time, okay? No more than 6 weeks without then a week break. I think when you know that week break's coming, you're like, okay, I'm going to do 6 weeks and I'm going to have a week break where I can eat at maintenance, not whatever you want, eat at maintenance, okay? When you eat at maintenance, you don't gain weight. You might gain weight initially from water and glycogen, but you're generally not going to gain weight. What it's going to do is dissipate all this diet fatigue and mental fatigue from dieting, okay? You need to be cognizant that when you're dieting, you're not going to be at your 100% self, especially after a long time, okay? So when you get to this point, you alleviate all of the fatigue, but you keep your weight at a constant rate, okay? So you're not going backwards, you're not in a surplus, and then you can do it all again. You can either do 6 weeks, or if it's getting hard too early, you can do it intuitively, program that week early, do another block, program that week, and then when you've kind of done 12 weeks, around 12 weeks in total, however you want to divide that up, or you've lost 10% of your body weight, then you need to go into a maintenance period, okay? This should be for about 50 to 150% of the diet length that you were in a caloric deficit for. So for example, if you lost weight over the course of 12 weeks and you're going into a longer maintenance period, then the maintenance period should be at least 6 weeks, if not up to 18 weeks, okay? The longer the better. I know it feels like marking time, you're not making progress, but guess what? That weight is going to stay off, I promise you, if you can maintain your weight throughout that period. And when you go into the next bit, I promise you'll have the same success again, okay? If you're going to do it intuitively, if your mood or energy is low for 4 to 5 days or more, like 3 to 4 weeks into a diet, then you need to program a maintenance period. If you're losing weight too quickly, above about 0.8% of your body weight, then you need to eat a little bit more or reduce your energy expenditure. I would say eat a little bit more is probably the best way, okay? Okay, in summary then, and a few things to live by. Do resistance training 3 to 4 times a week. If you're a beginner, then 1 to 2 times. When you're used to this, your body can cope. Increase it to 3, then increase it to 4. It's pretty simple. Okay, get your steps in. 10K is obviously thrown around a lot. I think it's a good good target to start aiming for. If your current NEAT activity level is 2K, try 5. You feel good at 5, try 7. Increase it to 10. Okay, and just step up ever so slowly. Okay, eat lean protein 3 times a day, if not 4. Try not to snack in between meals. If you eat enough protein, you won't want to snack. Try and aim for like a fist-sized portion of protein as a minimum, okay? So like this kind of covers off all bases. People say they're eating lean protein, but they're having like you know, like this much chicken, that's not enough, okay? If you can, then 2 fist-sized portions. I can guarantee you're not going to be hungry for snacks if you're having 2 fist-sized portions of protein at every meal. Give it a go. Okay, eat your fruit and vegetables. They're nutrient-dense foods. They're generally low in calories. They're going to keep you full, okay? This is going to stop cravings. And they're sweet, which is great. And once you get used to that sweetness, you'll enjoy it. Okay, do cardio on top if you enjoy it, but pick something you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, why are you doing it? Okay, it's probably not going to impact your weight loss that much. Focus more on going out for a walk for an hour than like spending an hour on the treadmill, killing yourself, feeling really fatigued, feeling like, oh my god, my body's hurting so much, I need to eat to like recover. You don't. Okay, you could have gone for a walk, and you're probably not only going to be able to do one of those runs maybe a couple times a week before you burn out, whereas you can walk every day. Okay, imagine the calories burnt from two runs a week. Let's say it's 800 calories, or walking every day, which is probably going to be more like I don't know, 1400 calories. Okay, so it's going to be a lot more from walking, because you can repeat that. Add cardio on top if you enjoy it. Periodize your weight loss. Don't burn yourself out. Be realistic about what you can achieve, and be cognizant about your change in mindset throughout the diet. Okay, it is going to get a bit harder at some times. If it's getting harder consistently, go to maintenance. Go to maintenance. Okay, don't just quit. Don't just go back to the way you were eating before. Thanks for listening. Take care.